Did you know that Todd Howard once said we'd be getting yearly Starfield expansions? Every 12 months, brand new content, brand new Bethesda content to sink our teeth into. And despite that, no one seems to care whatsoever. No one's talking about a potential new expansion, new Starfield content, where are they going to take the IP? In fact, people care so little that there's way more discussion about a rumored Oblivion remaster, essentially. It's being called a remake as well, but it's basically the same game with new graphics. Remake, remaster, whatever. It's basically just more of the same of the old 2006 game. That is more exciting to people than new Starfield content. So it says a lot about how far Bethesda have fallen. I mean, when Fallout 4 was getting expansions like Far Harbor and so on, it was treated like a new game. It was like the next big thing from Bethesda. Everyone was pumped for it. Maybe we get a Starfield expansion later this year. Don't think anyone could care less. People have already moved on. But concerning the Oblivion remake that has been rumored, there's been a lot of talk about this. There's been multiple sources and so on. Hasn't actually been any footage, not even a single screenshot. So whether it's actually real or leakers are just reporting the same thing. No one wants to be left in the dust. Everyone wants to pretend, oh yes, I've got my sources. I'm an insider as well. I guarantee I've got the connections. Keep listening to me. I don't know if it's that situation or if this is just a thing now. It's definitely happening. Anyone with slight industry knowledge, insider knowledge, just knows that this is happening. And maybe it is, because apparently it's coming extremely soon, even earlier than previous rumors suggested. And this is one of those leakers. Are they credible? I've got no idea, but they've got some followers. Maybe that counts. But it says here, a quick update on the Elder Scrolls Oblivion announcement and release timing for the remake. As plans stand, both the release and reveal are targeting next month, April. The gap between the reveal and release will be minimal. A shadow drop is possible. So previous rumors were saying maybe June or something, and that lined up to some people, because if you follow Microsoft Gaming or Xbox Gaming's release schedule, it seemed like they were releasing something basically every month, which is kind of how Nintendo have been doing it as well. Nintendo, for the longest time, they try and release something major every month. Sometimes it'll be a new game, sometimes it'll be yet another Wii U re-release, but they will release something. So maybe Microsoft said, hey, Nintendo are printing money, let's copy the same strategy, because whatever we're doing, it doesn't work. We've bought every game company under the sun, we're still getting nowhere. In fact, Xbox is basically dead. We're turning the new Xbox into a PC. Their whole strategy seems to be up in the air. No one knows what they're doing. They're porting everything to PlayStation, whatever. But it seems like they are trying to release a game every month, and June looked free for them. So maybe that was the month for the Elder Scrolls Oblivion remake, but apparently not. Apparently it's coming even sooner, in April. So in like 30, 40 days, we could be playing this. Brand new Elder Scrolls. Not really, but people will just tell themselves that because it's been so long since an actual game has come out. So replaying 2006 Oblivion might feel pretty good for some people. Now, maybe it's true. It seems a little bit odd that given Microsoft clearly bought Bethesda for the Elder Scrolls, Fallout 2, of course, but Elder Scrolls would have been a massive part of it. The impending Elder Scrolls 6 follow-up to Skyrim, spending those billions, it was because of Elder Scrolls. Do you think they care about Dishonored, what Arcane's doing, even Doom, really? I wouldn't think so. I think when they bought Bethesda, it was the idea of making Elder Scrolls exclusive to Xbox. They saw that as it's just a huge thing. It's going to move units, move consoles. Obviously, plans have changed. Now Elder Scrolls will be on every device, but that's why they bought it. So you would think that Microsoft would just be taking the Elder Scrolls as seriously as possible and treating something like this like a massive release, like a real flagship release, even though it is just a remaster essentially of Elder Scrolls Oblivion. If it genuinely has new graphics, and we'll come to that, there's some information about graphics and how it's going to look modern and everything, Unreal 5, but it is going to look new and flashy, so they can market that. Uninformed people probably won't understand as well that, hey, this is just the exact same game from 20 years ago with a new coat of paint. Some people, sort of casual fans of Skyrim, might not get that. They'll just see this as almost a new thing. So I just feel like they would have treated this more seriously. It's not like it's just a remaster where they're just upgrading some textures and you can barely tell the difference unless you're holding up screenshots side by side and you've got someone, Todd Howard or something on the screen telling, oh, look at these textures, 10 times the detail, you've got to buy this. It's not even that. Like, they could actually really sell the graphics here, which I thought would have been a big thing for them. But apparently it's just a shadow drop. It's just release it, get it on Steam with achievements, probably the Switch and so on. They just seem to be treating it like not a big deal, and I don't really think it is a big deal, so at least they're being honest about that. But I just sort of thought the Elder Scrolls name, they would have treated this more seriously. But maybe they think the shadow drop, getting everyone excited, maybe doing the opposite of Elder Scrolls 6, where it's like 10 years between official announcement and it actually coming out. Maybe they're memeing this up, and hey, we're announcing it, and it's actually coming out really soon. It's coming out tomorrow. Here it is. Could be something like that. I mean, Microsoft, not usually self-aware, so probably not, but we'll see. There are some new details. So there is this article. It's not just the tweet. Apparently, that leaker did some sort of interview, talk to someone, so there's more info in this article. And it mentions a deluxe edition. You can pay more for this 20-year-old game. Incredible. New content, it's not new though, it's actually just old scrapped content that probably shouldn't have been in the game in the first place. It was removed for a reason. They're adding that back, so get excited. You get some deleted scenes, essentially. And the Oblivion Remake, it could become a visual masterpiece that brings back lost content and combines Skyrim's feeling of play with new technology. An exciting comeback. Sounding a bit more like a planned leak, like a marketing article, not just giving us the details, but maybe lost in translation. Again, Google Translate or something here, so maybe not quite accurate. Fans of The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, they're eagerly awaiting this anniversary edition, which, according to numerous leaks and rumors, is about to come into effect extremely soon. New graphics. So according to various insiders, the remake of Oblivion is intended to be based on the Unreal Engine 5, while the game continues to run on the proven Creation Engine. I think that might be up for debate these days. Maybe proven 10, 15 years ago with, like, Fallout 3, Morrowind. I think that's where you got the best out of the Creation Engine, the Gamebryo Engine, or whatever we want to call it. But these days, due the strengths of the system, which is being able to pick up everything and have this huge, expansive world, which runs okay, because for all the criticism Starfield got, it still ran better than a lot of these other games that we've seen recently, like Dragon's Dogma 2, Open World, Monster Hunter Wilds, all these performance issues. Obviously, those are both Capcom, but this has happened with so many Unreal 5 engine games, for instance, or just a lot of modern games, really, where the performance, especially on PC, when you get into an open world setting, is pathetic. These games run horribly, and Starfield, for all of its flaws, it didn't run very well. I don't want to get, I guess, changing history, revisionist history. It ran pretty bad on release, I mentioned. I upgraded my computer, I've mentioned this a million times, just for Starfield. Didn't run that well, but it still probably ran better than a lot of games. So I think the Creation Engine, if you put the time in, and you don't just rush it out to release, if you spend a bit of time, it's an engine, I guess it's proven. It does perform reasonably well, but you've got to put good content inside of it. And that's what Bethesda have really failed at recently. This whole idea, though, of Creation Engine, and then we're slapping Unreal 5 just over the top. So the graphics, and I'm going to get the technical terms completely wrong, but the Unreal 5 engine renders the graphics or something, so that's how you get new fancy visuals, but then you get the benefits of the Creation Engine, which is being able to pick up objects and different things. Kind of curious, honestly, hearing that, if that's what they try and do with Elder Scrolls 6, because I think there's some conflict inside of Bethesda, probably Microsoft as well, who need that to be a massive hit. Now that Microsoft are essentially a third-party publisher, it's about the game sales. They can't really afford for the Elder Scrolls 6 to perform worse than Skyrim, to not be like the next big thing and show the series is moving in an upwards direction. It's not all crashing down. Maybe Bethesda look at doing that the next game runs on Creation, but they do that where the assets are all rendered in Unreal Engine 5. I think I read that Moon Studios, who did the Ori series, their latest game, I think it's in early access or something, No Rest for the Wicked, that does something like that as well, where it renders the graphics in one engine, but then the gameplay and the functionality is in another. Maybe does the gameplay better. Maybe that's what Bethesda are looking to do long term, and it isn't just for this remake. I guess we'll see. Shadow of the Colossus, that's another one that does the same thing. Graphics in one engine and gameplay and everything in the old engine. Could happen. My concern, surely performance is just going to be dog shit if they go this way. There's all these problems with Unreal Engine 5. Then you got the creation engine jank, where the longer you play the game, the worse things get. That's when you start having those crashes and the whole thing just starts to go wrong. NPCs are dying that you've never even met, and then you go to the town and the NPCs are gone. You can't start the quest. These are all Oblivion problems that are just there in the game. I doubt they're fixing those. I can just see things going horribly wrong, performance-wise especially, with this whole Unreal Engine 5 thing. This technical combination, though, it would usher in a new era for the game, with the graphics in particular experiencing an enormous upgrade. I hope that's a translation issue, because this is just shilling. It's just blatant shilling, so we can skip over it. According to the leaks, the controls and gameplay should be orientated more towards Skyrim, which is to be expected since the game with its fluid mechanics was the basis for many fans. So, hearing that, again, maybe there's a translation issue, but it's basically saying that they've remade Oblivion and the combat and everything is going to be more like Skyrim. So, again, it's hard to believe that they put this much work into it, and I'm not even sure it is Bethesda doing this. I think they might have outsourced it to a Singaporean studio or something like that, so they might not even be working firsthand on this, but the idea that you would remake Oblivion, make it more like Skyrim, like there is that Sky Oblivion fan project, which has had a lot of noise over the years. People have been excited for that. It's a dream come true for some people. You get the older games, Oblivion, maybe Morrowind into the Skyrim engine. Like, you're doing that in secret for years. We've only just learned about it, really. And then you're just going to shadow drop it. Like, it doesn't really matter that much. It's probably just going to be on Game Pass. A lot of people will play it for free. It won't improve or increase subscriptions, let's be real. Nothing will. I don't think even Call of Duty did. So this isn't moving the needle. But you would think that you would really give this some love, that you would really push it and make it like the next big Elder Scrolls thing, the next big Bethesda release. They don't seem to care if it's getting shadow dropped next month. So maybe things are going horribly wrong, and it's like, well, we can't invest too much money in this. We can't put too many more resources in, but maybe things are just going tragically wrong. It's all falling off a cliff. And now they're like, you know what, we probably should have seen this. Unreal Engine 5 sort of taped that together with the creation engine so that the graphics are shinier, but now nothing works in the game. It's all a big janky mess. It's all just going horribly wrong. Let's get it out quickly. Let's shadow drop it so no one really thinks about it, no one remembers, and then let's just move on and run far away from this terrible remake, because this is what happens when you outsource what was once a great series to people who don't really know what they're doing. The studio meant to be working on this, they've never made a game before, as far as I can understand. They've never made a game from scratch. They just do ports and little things. So, a big undertaking, and you could say that's the pessimist point of view, but after Starfield, after so many flops and Bethesda trying to excite us, Fallout 76, nothing they've touched has really turned out all okay. Some people like the Fallout TV show, so I'm happy for you there, but in the gaming world, things haven't gone all that well. So maybe this is another miss, or maybe it's gone amazingly well. Microsoft just think this is just a remake, it's just a bit of a remaster. We don't need to exaggerate the extent of how big this is. Let's just release it at a reasonable price and then get on to the Elder Scrolls 6, because that's what's best for gamers and the fans. Would that be their mindset? I think that would be cope. I don't think that's how they think. So, who knows? Maybe it'll just be a bit of fun, but it could be a mess. It really could. And I mentioned best case scenario, price. A fair price. Well, according to this, as far as pricing is concerned, a price of $79.99 USD for the standard version has been reported. $79.99, I thought in America, you may have detected not American accent, but I thought that $79.99, that's more expensive. Aren't they $70 games in America? And that's more than a few years ago when $60 was the default. So is this more? Or am I missing something? And then you've got the deluxe edition, which is going to include the art book, soundtrack, 2 sets inspired by the popular worlds of Morrowind and Skyrim. 2 sets, I wonder what they're going to be. Surely nothing physical. Surely what you mean by 2 sets is 2 sets of horse armor inspired by other games that you're going to chuck in, because you can meme on this, you can make it a bit of fun, like, spend a bit more and get the horse armor. It was all a big joke. Yeah, we're going to take your money for this joke and everything, but come on, like, you can be included in this. This is going to be fun for the whole family. This is great. Surely they're not going to miss out on that, because, like, that's a microtransaction where they can't even be criticized for it. They're just playing into the spirit of Oblivion. However, it remains to be seen whether these details correspond to facts. So it could just be a bunch of bullshit, is what it's saying. No one really knows. I don't know if it's going to be $80, surely. I guess if they really just want to push the Game Pass subscriptions, they give it a high price, hoping people sub and then play it essentially for free if you're already subbed, or on the cheap if you're going to pay your $15-20 a month or whatever. It does mention, though, a particular exciting detail concerns the revival of original content, which was not included in the final version of the game at the time. It is rumoured that some of these cutout contents will now find their way back into the game and even add new elements. You don't need to add things that were maybe removed for a reason, like bad quests or unfinished dungeons and so on. Like, if they want to put more in, Oblivion is lacking on dungeon variety. It's extremely samey. If you play Skyrim and think sometimes these dungeons get a bit repetitive, the setting and so on of the caves and different things, it's way worse in Oblivion. There's barely any variety. So surely you could put some more of that stuff in. If that's part of the cut content, then sounds alright, but I doubt that's going to be the case. It's probably going to be a few quests here and there that maybe modders have already discovered a long time ago and put a lot of these things in. Like, if you do want new Oblivion content, then there are a ton of mods that will add to that and probably do a much better job than whatever is added in here. But, I mean, if it's good, there's nothing wrong with that. If it's going to be $80, the fact that there's some new stuff, that can't hurt. I've said it before, but they need to fix the level scaling. It's the number one problem with Oblivion, that you can't even just level up in a satisfactory way without looking into the systems online and min-maxing in all these weird ways. Not going to repeat what I said in the last remake video, but the short of it is, the leveling's not good. They should fix it. They should change that drastically so it's more in line with even just other Elder Scrolls games. Basically, make the leveling like any other RPG, and you'll be doing better than Oblivion. That's the main change that's needed. Not even graphics. Not even adding in old content or whatever. Fix the actual game. That's where a remake can make sense, where you take a flawed gem, which I'd say Oblivion is in some regards. There's some good stuff in the game, but the fundamental experience is ruined by the level scaling system. So fix that. Do something. If this is going to be yet another overpriced, under-delivered affair where it's janky and it launches really rough, it's a ripoff, at least fix the game. But the good news is, this isn't going to be a dragged out thing. It's either real in April, we find out, is it a shadow drop? Does it come out in June, a couple of months later? You might think this is just to hold you over until the Elder Scrolls 6. Maybe you play it, but then you're going to wait for the real thing, the main course, Elder Scrolls 6 in a year or two. Let's be honest, this is probably going to be better than that. So you should make the most of it, enjoy it, and then get ready to be disappointed once we get around to Todd Howard's masterpiece, the proper 6 Elder Scrolls entry. But we'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.